Welcome everybody to Janome Club. We're doing a slightly different format today, just due to restrictions and the number of people we can have in our video room and things like that. So as you can see, I've got a slight little PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to do. Then we're going to go through and actually show you the software. Today we are looking at the AcuStitch software. It is a PC software for embroidery machines. So if you've got a Mac, you would have to run it through Boot Camp or Parallels, something like that, one of those third-party PC applications. Or if you've got a standard Windows machine, then you can run the AcuStitch software. So if you want any more information on this software or any other products by Janome, you can go to our website at janome.com.au, or you can contact your local Janome stockist. We will have somebody on the chat, so if you've got any questions, please ask them there and they'll be answered. And let's have a look. So the AcuStitch software is an embroidery software, so it utilizes your embroidery machine, but it actually takes some of your sewing stitches and arrays them into different shapes and patterns so that you can stitch them out perfectly. So what the AcuStitch software does is it's got 117 different stitch patterns. So you can see at the top here, there is just a variety of a few different ones that I pulled out of the stitch patterns. And then it gives you a whole heap of different shapes. You've got 17 shapes, which are down the bottom. And they show you all the different ways that you can array those shapes. So into a circle or triangle, and it will calculate exactly the right number to go in that shape. There is also 11 different fonts, 46 little border designs, and you also have the ability for 2- and 3-letter monogramming. So I'll show you here. Here is a pillow that has been done, and each one of the circles has got a different shape that they use to array the stitches around. So we've got circles, hexagons, there's an octagon, and there's a spiral. And here you will see a close-up of two of the blocks here. You've got the octagon on the left-hand side, and we've used the stitch word of sweet, and that's going around the inner octagon there. Then there's like this floral little leaf design, another sort of little leaf on a vine, and then the little pebbles. And they have all been arrayed in the same shape, so this octagon, but at different sizes. Now, the size that you can do on this software is dependent on the hoop that you select. So whatever size hoops you've got for your embroidery machine, you can stitch up to that size. And on the right-hand side, we've got a circular array with a variety of some interesting little looking cats, a little sort of like diamond designs, squiggles, and then the word handmade. On our website, janome.com.au, if you go into the inspiration section, you will find 2 different projects, and one of them is this one, which was an accessory of the month from December 2019, and it shows you step by step how to go through and make these Christmas tree decorations. So that is available there for you, so that if you are interested in this and have this software, or purchase this software, you can then download a sheet like this project sheet, and it will take you through actually creating some different ideas that you can do. So let's actually have a look at the software. I'm just going to go over to my software screen, and I'm just going to get up my special little spotlight icon. Here we go. So this is your screen. We're not Okay, so this is the home screen that the software opens up onto, and it will show you a hoop layout here in the center of the screen. If you want to change the hoop size, it's just as easy as going up to the left-hand corner at the top, and we have a hoop size button, and we can select there, and it will show up all of the hoops that are available for the machine that you've selected. So if it's a machine, we've got the 15,000, the 12,000, the S9, the 9900, your embroidery only machines such as the 500E, the 550E. If you want to know whether your machine is compatible with this software, please contact your local Janome stockist and they can advise you. But when you first start the software, it'll ask you what machine you are using, and you would then select the machine, and you can change it through your Windows menu at a later stage if you happen to have two machines and you want to do some for one machine and then some for another. So in here, in this menu, the first thing you would do would select the size of the hoop that you want to use. Let's go for, we'll do the SQ23, which is our square hoop that's available on the memory card 15,000. Then you would want to look at and see if you want to put a shape in here with your stitches that are arrayed. And if you'd like to know what stitches you've got available, in the menu button, there is a stitch reference chart. And that actually shows you up, I don't know if you can see that one. Can you see the screen, the sheet? Let's go to...
Can't see the sheet, Kathy.
Okay, I'm going there now. There you go, you should be able to see it now.
Yeah.
This is a sheet that shows you all the different stitches that are available on this software that have come from your machines. You also have, as part of this software, or you may already have it as a standalone software, is the Stitch Composer. Stitch Composer is a software that actually allows you to create your own stitch. So if you wanted, say, a little doggy, you could stitch out a dog. We've got, and under our inspirations section on our website, we do have some accessories of the month and some inspiration projects on there for using the Stitch Composer. And you can then create your own stitch. So if you wanted, say, like this heart here, but you wanted it slightly bigger, or you wanted it turned to the left, you could create that as your own stitch and then utilize that in the software. So I'll go back to my software here. So you've got, I've printed out, so I've got it as an easy reference, that stitch chart. So that way I can then refer to that anytime I want to create a design. Here we have a selection of all the different shapes we can do. So if we wanted to start with, say, a hexagon, I would select the hexagon shape. Then it will come up and it will ask you, where have you got those stitches saved? So by default, the software will open up into your list of built-in designs, which come with this machine, or you can then wherever you have saved your stitches that you've created in the Stitch Composer, you would just have to go to that folder and open it up. So we're going to open up a little flower, which is in the pictograph menu. So I click on pictograph, and then I can see from my chart that I'm looking at, that I've printed out, that it's stitch number 2. And it does show you a preview of the stitch up the top. So if you wanted to, and you didn't have that stitch chart printed out, you could go through here and find the one that you want. And you can see the preview at the top if this one, the selection is checked. So we're going to say open that stitch. Then once it opens here, it's got the stitch as like a bit of a default setting, but I want to change this because this is only a 30mm, so a 3cm little hexagon. It's very tiny. So I can take this all the way up to the largest that this hoop will allow. And this one is taking me to 115 millimeters, which is actually the length of this side. So that means from this side of my hexagon to the opposite side, it will fit in that hoop. And there are also some advanced settings. So if you wanted to, you could change the spacing and you can make the pattern slightly bigger or slightly smaller. So this is very similar to our embroidery editor software or editing on your embroidery machine, where you can only go up to 120% or down to 80%. And that is because it doesn't calculate the number of stitches. You would need software like our artistic digitizer to be able to do it where it redigitizes the stitches. But we're happy with this. We're going to go for the largest size to start with. And then the next thing you hit is the convert button. And that will take it down onto my hoop in the background. If you wanted to do another one that was smaller, you don't have to go in and select the stitch again. You can literally come back to this screen that's still sitting on top and we can take this down. I could also highlight in the cell and I can type in using my keyboard, and I can also change the stitch here as well. So if I wanted to change the stitch, I can go in and select stitch number 1, and we can try that one instead. When you're happy with what you'd like, you hit convert. If I want to try this when it's a little bit bigger, let's go up to 80 and we hit convert. So you can add in as many things as a hexagon. So this is the shape that I want. And then we can close that. You can see here too that now I've got a green check, sort of a green box around the design that's selected. So if I go ahead and select the bigger design, you'll see now this green box is all the way around that. And you can also select over on the right-hand side, you have your design list. So you can select the designs on the right-hand side, and again, it will show you, depending on what you've selected, which one it is by the green bounding box. I don't want this particular one anymore. I think it's too small. So you can hit the delete button on your keyboard and it will go away. But I would like to add a different shape in there. So I'm going to add this 5-pointed star. And we are going to find a different stitch. So I'm going to go into my play folder. We're going to go for this one, number 2, which says the word love. And we are going to increase this. We'll try it at that and see what happens. I think that looks okay. And then we can close that up. Once you've got a few designs in your software, you can then do some basic editing. So up in my top left-hand corner, I've got little tabs across the top. And at the moment, we're on our home screen. I can now go to my edit tab. When you're in the edit tab, that allows you to do some basic editing of what you've got in there. You can also bring in when you bring in the different designs, depending on what you've got in there will allow you different options. So at the moment, I've got no text on this. So you can see here that my text sections are actually grayed out. I can't select those. But what I can do is I can either mirror them. So if I wanted this upside down, I can hit my mirror and I can mirror horizontally and vertically. If you don't want to do that, you can hit the undo. You can also delete with the trash can. You can also, here is another spot where you can resize it. And again, we can go up to our 120 or down to our 80%. You can also rotate. So you could either do this as a highlight the cell and type it in, or you can use the little arrows and go around as you want. Then I can actually center this. So I can center all the designs. Oops. This one. And just because of the way it's centering, I'm just going to use the keyboard mouse, my arrow keys, just to move that down. Move it up a bit more. Yeah. So you can rearrange things as you like here. If I wanted to, if we get rid of some of these, the other option you've got, if you want multiple designs, is I can put that up in the corner and I can hit my cornering tool. That will automatically bring it out, and you've got a design there that you can utilize either to stitch out on a block for embroidery. And if you have machines such as the 15, 14, 12, 14 or 15,000, or your embroidery only machines, and you've got the AcuFill hoop, you can select the AcuFill hoop and actually make quilting designs here as well. Once you've got a design that you are happy with, it is just a matter of sending it to your machine. So if I go back to my home tab and I've got write a design, this will allow you to send it to your USB drive. You can rename it. Anybody who's used the embroidery editor, even back as our customizer customers, all your digitizers, they all have a very similar interface here that I can rename this to the name that I want. I then go into my USB drive, go into my EMBF folder, and if I'm happy with where this is, I hit this red arrow and that will easily write it over. It's as simple as that, that design is now written onto that USB stick, ready for me to take it to my sewing machine. If I wanted to do a quilting design, let's clear this up. One thing we can do is we can utilize this spiral. And if I go into my normal stitches in here, and if I select just a straight stitch, and here is my spiral. Now, when you've got spiral designs and circular designs and things, you do get a few extra options. So at the moment, I've got my radius, which is obviously how big the outer diameter is. So you can see there that it's only got these 3 sort of rotations. So I can click on my angle and that will take it around. Let's see how high. It'll tell you when you can't go any bigger. Like 2,000. Let's go to 1,500. It just depends on, there you go, that's the biggest I want to do, 1,079. And then your spacing is the difference between the actual lines. So we could take that there. So once we're happy with that, we can put that in. I'll just get rid of this other little one that went in there. So here is a design that is going to stitch out as a single line stitching and stitch this big spiral. You could then utilize your AcuFill hoop, which uses the magnets to clamp your quilt in. That once you've got your quilt basted, you can then place this in multiple areas, twist it around the hoop. You could also add in, we can add in a second one. That was stitch number 6. So we could add in one like this. Let's add another one of those. So we could move this one up here, move this one down there. We could even rotate this around. Oh, I need to move it into the center of the hoop to rotate it. Let's take it to about there, move that back down there. So you could see that I could create a random sort of quilt pattern here that I could then stitch out on my embroidery machine and stitch out my quilt. We're going to copy this. Now, when it copies and pastes, it does do it like Editor, where it stitches it on top of itself. So you can see over here, I do have the extra design. We can put that there. We can also rotate this back and move it into there. So I could then take this to my embroidery design and stitch that out, and it would be a beautiful quilt design, which looks like I've spent hours quilting it, or you've sent it off to a long arm machine, but it creates a really nice quilt design. So you could do little circles like raindrops, you could do the big hexagons, that sort of thing. So if there's any questions about the specific software, please put them in the chat. And you can also print out templates on this software. You can save your designs so you can come back to them later. I haven't gone through it, but you also have the option to add in text. So if you wanted to, you've got here all different sorts of text, and then we could write our details in. So that's added my text in. If I want to then manipulate this text, I've now can arc it up like this, move it over, we can rotate it. So there's so many things that you can do with this software. And you could stitch that out. You've also got the monogramming, your 2 or 3 letters, where you select what frame you would like it in, and Janome, Jan. So you've got that as an option. And as I said, the one place where this is really good is actually creating your own stitch and then making a design. So I'll go back to the other screen now, and I'll show you a couple more examples. So we should be back now to the PowerPoint.
Yep, that's correct.
Thank you. So here's another design. You can see down in the bottom right hand corner of this heart with like 2 sprays of leaves. That's been utilized on this quilt. 3 different sizes of circles, and because the design has this cute little sort of curve in it, it's created this really nice sort of lacy sort of design, and they've done it in 3 different sizes. So there's 100% in the middle, your 120 on the outside, and your 80% right in the middle. That way you can get that beautiful sort of lacy design. Here we have another one. This is either a wall hanging or a table runner, and that's got different designs done down on 4 different hoopings, and there's a close-up of it. So we've utilized the circle array of that one. We've done a curly stitch. This one, the one on the outside, is like a figure 8, sort of a weird scrolly one. This is another quilt that we've created. So it has utilized embroidery in all of the dark black squares, and then we've done some piecing around the outside. And here is a close-up of the stitching, and we've utilized in a variegated thread here so that you can get some beautiful designs happening and extra sort of work. And we've also utilized some little crystals. So we've put the little crystals glued on there, create a different look. Excuse me. Here is a quilt. So on this quilt, it has been spiral quilted with a walking foot throughout the center, and then on either side they've done a design, and this utilizes this little wave pattern, and that's been done in different size circles. And this is another project that is available on our website. It was the accessory the month for July this year, and it shows you going through and creating some coasters. So thank you very much for joining us today for looking at the AcuStitch software for your embroidery machines. And more information or to purchase this can be done from your local Janome stockist. So thank you very much for joining us.